But guys, I bring you greetings from Newport News, Virginia, and Woodside High School. I want to thank my Newport News family, Del Rose, Jennifer, Katrina, Jordan. Jordan Williams, my right-hand man at Woodside. So I want to thank those guys for attending this morning. But really quick, guys, again, I bring you greetings from Woodside High School. At Woodside, I serve as an assistant principal, and each day I have an amazing opportunity to work with 1,900 students, staff, teachers, our school community. Our school is a arts and communications magnet school, and we have some amazing students there. So as you can tell from my pictures, I love Woodside. I miss the kids. We're going back virtual, so I'm going to miss kind of interacting with the kids in the building each day, but we have a plan to kind of keep that going virtually, okay? So team, my focus today is just to share with you some best practices that can enhance your work with your male students. One thing that my presenters earlier mentioned is that environment, school environment is so important. So as you think about just working with males in general, and it's so critical now that we are returning to learn, whether it's in a hybrid format, virtual, or schools are going back face-to-face in the traditional model. We all know that the instructional and social emotional well-being of students is so critical. And in this context that I'm going to speak in this morning, males. So with that in mind, to kind of set the stage for learning, really quick, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to do this. I want you to jot down the name of a young man that as school is getting ready to start that you want to work with. You say, hey, I really have to work with this student. I have to work with this young man. I have to engage and empower him to reach his full potential. So if you just take 3 seconds and jot that name down for me real quick, guys, just 3 seconds. And I've written my name down as well. And this picture represents all the names that I probably would have written down. One thing about this presentation, I'm always asked, Dr. Ford, like, why? Why are you so passionate about this work with males? And here's the thing, I start with first. Here's the first thing. When I think about all the young men I've worked with over the years, and this, I think this is my 27th year, taking research-based best practices and just my own practical experience, I've had some great success in helping young men, or these young men, even in this picture, reach their fullest potential. So and I want to share that with the world, which I'm having the opportunity to do today. And with that in mind, the next part of my why is this word right here, save. And this is so important. You and I both know that males face challenges, a mountain of challenges. And with this particular presentation, I don't really spend a lot of time talking about that in terms of challenges, whether it's academic, behavioral, social influences. We're already aware of that. My why is that I see the glass half full. And this word right here sums it up. So as you think about that young man the name that you jotted down for me, my whole thing is this word save. How can I preserve? How can I guard this young man from just not reaching his potential? So in my eyes, the word save is I'm going to do everything I can in my power to help this young man. So that's the context and the lens that I use today. And with that, the things I'm going to share with you, the goal is to change the narrative. And that's the key thing. All right. So how are you going to do it? 3 pathways. And the first one I'm going to start with, and we all know this stuff, is relationships. Relationships are the key. So with that in mind, whenever I talk about relationships, the one person I talk about is my son. And here's the thing, and I love this quote here. No significant learning can happen without a significant relationship. I know that from personal experience with dealing with my son. So guys, if we look at this picture, I love this picture. Here's my son on the left and his teacher, Miss Edmonds. This is in kindergarten, first grade. First grade, my son struggled. My phone was ringing off the hook. I'm like, oh man, they calling me again? Like, what is going on with this kid? I'm pulling my hair. I'm leaving school, running to the school. Miss Evans said, hey, I got you, Mr. Ford. Just let me work, DJ. We're going to get him straight. I said, please, what do I need to do? Whatever needs to happen. But as I think about this, just that relationship that Ms. Edmonds, she poured into my son each and every day. And the picture on the right, this is his picture, his ROTC picture. He's in college, he's first year college student now. But I just think about the transformation. And all that I owe back to the first grade. And Miss Edmonds did a wonderful, wonderful job with my son. So here's the thing that Miss Edmonds, this is what she based her work with my son on. She said, look, Maslow is important, especially in the school setting. See, my son needed just to feel his safety each and every day. Ms. Edmonds provided that. She needed him each day to work on his esteem, positive classroom culture, positive learning environment. And day in and day out, he just got better. And the sky was the limit. So she understood that. So relationships, again, when we think about our young men, if you think about that young man, the name that you wrote down, relationships are the key. All right, moving forward. We go from relationships, and then we move into expectations, setting high expectations. And here's the thing about expectations. Expectations is twofold. One, as an educator, I have to have high expectations in working with this young man. I'm going to refuse. I'm not going to give up, whatever it takes. And then I have to transfer that to that young man. I have to set high expectations for him. And this is so, so important. This quote here is so powerful. So we even can believe that the young man will be a loser or he will be a winner. And the base of that starts with me. And again, my job is to transfer that into that young man. I love this picture right here. I have this picture in my office. This is expectations. So if you look closely at this, you see a mutual relationship. You see a mutual trust. You see a framework for drive. There's a drive there. There's expectations. So we see the young man looking at his coach, and the coach is giving direction. So the one thing about expectations is all about, and how do you do that? It's about instilling confidence. It's about creating opportunities for young men to be successful. It's about support. It's about collaboration. Who else can I bring in to help me to ensure that this young man or young men can be successful? So the whole thing with this, with expectations, it's all about breaking the cycle. So when I believe in high expectations, and I get that young man to believe in high expectations, and when we think in the context of school, it breaks the cycle of low expectations. It breaks them with pushing young men to less challenging courses. It does away with giving low-level assignments in terms of instruction. It leads to, we're not going to accept poor test results. We're going to push, we're going to believe, and we're going to set high expectations. The biggest piece that I think is so very critical is active learning strategies, strong instructional practice. And again, that goes from relationships, expectations, and delivering high impact student-centered learning. Here's the thing about learning. Learning has to be active. And I'm not going to read the entire quote to you. Learning has to be active. It cannot be passive. So as a teacher, as I develop curriculum, as I develop lessons, I have to keep that in mind, particularly with young men. They have to be engaged each and every day. Now, how do I know this? I have like all this experience, but I'm going to be very honest with you. This summer, I put together, and Jordan, I believe he's on the call today, and he helped me with this, one of my great guys from Woodside. He worked with me to put together this summer reading program. He was like my technical guy. He helped with all the PowerPoints and things of that nature. But one thing that we learned when we brought together 35 African-American males from across the country, from Virginia, from Georgia, from Texas, North Carolina, Baltimore, Maryland. The one thing that we realized that, hey guys, if we can really implement some active learning strategies, what will be the outcome? This is what we learned. We learned a couple of things. First thing, that young men can and want to be active learners. And we did this virtually. And that simply happened from picking some great reading assignments, making it not like school in a sense, but it was fun. And the young men they said, hey, I'm hungry for this. And here's the thing, each week they kept coming back. So we knew we were doing something right. Here's the next thing we learned. And this all transfers to the classroom, that collaborative learning strategies are the bomb. Excuse my expression, but that's what it is. So things like Socratic seminars, discussion groups, just really giving the young men an opportunity to share their voice, where they had an opportunity to say, hey, this is how this particular poem by Langston Hughes is impacting me. This is how I feel about Malcolm X reading his diary about how he learned to improve himself as a reader and as a learner. This is how it's impacted me in giving students voice. Here's the next thing we learned. Relevancy is important. Connecting the real world to learning and having kids kind of see that bridge. And the last thing we learned is that there's power in student voice. Giving the students an opportunity to share how they feel, because in a traditional classroom, often teachers, they want to do what? They want to like just pigeonhole the kids. Don't move, don't talk, right? But in this context, it said talk. We need you, we want to know, how do you feel about this? And giving them the opportunity to do that. And again, and while it's mentioned that I've written an article about this experience that's in SchoolRubric. So with that in mind, guys, I want to move to the next slide. I'm gonna bring this all together. Here's the thing with all these experiences and my passion around this particular topic. And this is my story. Here you see this road right here. I'm from a place called Moncks Corner, South Carolina, which is about 20 miles from Charleston, South Carolina. And this is the road leading to my house, well, my mom's house now. And we live off to the left. So when I look at this road, it really reminds me of Robert Frost's poem, Two Roads. Two roads diverge in the wood, and I took the one less traveled. I could have very easily went to the right, very easily, like off track, not focused. And I could have said, hey, I don't want to go left. I don't want to stay with my mom. I don't want to listen to the things that she needs me to do. But here's the thing. I had one person, I had several people in my life as a young guy. I'm going to be 50 next month. But as a young guy, I had several people in my life. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, that's my high school coach, basketball coach. So whenever I go home, I always go to the high school. And I say, Coach, thank you. Because he built a relationship with me. He set high expectations. And he says, hey, you have to take these higher level classes. So I went from just this happy-go-lucky kid that just wanted to play basketball to really getting focused, to earning a scholarship to Johnson C. Smith University. And then I was able to graduate in 4 years. And I owe it all to Coach Walls. And he's still coaching at the high school back home. So team, that's my story. I think it's so critical, particularly as we go back, as we return to learn. And I have a group of young men that I'm going to be working with at Woodside. And Jordan is one of them. Jordan is exceptional. I wish I could have had it. You can see his face, but he's a great young man. But each day I'm pouring into Jordan. Hey, Jordan, this is what you need to do. Don't forget to do this. He's doing an exceptional job. And there's so many young men at Woodside as well that I'm working with. So team, that's my story. I hope you were able to gather some great information from the things I shared. But that's it. Thank you. Any questions?